Good morning, and welcome back to the second episode of Sunday Scaries, a series where I react to entitled and out-of-touch pastors. Today we're looking at a sermon from last Sunday from the internet's witch hunting,
We ain't afraid of you, you stinking witch!
book burning,
We got every bit of kind of witchcraft.
and QAnon darling,
You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation!
Greg Locke.
Get out in the name of Jesus!
Bear with me if I sound a little nasal or under the weather. I am quite sick this week. Let's get started.
If you're glad he's a faithful God, shout amen as loud as you can.
So one of the pet peeves I had as a Christian is when pastors and worship leaders would tell you what to do. When they would tell you, everybody raise your hands, or everybody give the Lord a praise, give the Lord a clap offering. It always annoyed me because in my relationship with God, I am going to worship God on my terms, not the terms that somebody else is telling me to do. And I got to a point where I wouldn't do it. If they told me to do it, I wouldn't do it.
For casting out evil spirits, let me tell you something. The Holy Ghost is going to leave your lukewarm mamby-pamby, tickle-me Elmo church in the dust.
Mamby tickle me Elmo. I wonder if he comes up with these insults on the fly, or if he pre-plans them. If he just... Can you guys imagine Greg at his home, in his bathroom, standing in front of the mirror, and testing these insults to see which ones he likes and doesn't like?
Because deliverance is a movement that you can't stop.
No breaks on the deliverance train.
They shall cast out devils, and I'm here to tell you, this is the global awakening that the world and the church has been looking for. It is here to stay, and if you can't handle the heat, then go to some cold kitchen. But
Go to some cold kitchen. Okay.
Jesus gives us power in his name to cast out evil spirits. And every major demon slayer in America stood up in that arena. We preached the word of God. Had mass deliverance last night, 5,000 people. I'm telling you, it was lit.
Cool, Greg.
We may not make it till 6
Cool,
o'clock tonight.
because, cool, Greg.
There's an anointing
I'm sure
in
the
this
kids are
house.
all still using the word
I
lit.
love it. I love what God's doing, and I won't let the enemy steal it from us. I won't let a bunch of critical Pharisees and hypocrites steal it from us. I won't let denominational hierarchy steal it from us.
So,
I won't let
denominations
anybody that
do tend to
comes
get
this
shit
church and
on a
pretends to
lot.
support what we
Part
do,
of it
but
is
behind our back,
because
they criticize.
you
I
do
won't
find a
let
lot
you
of
stop it. You hear me? I
gatekeeping.
won't
A
let
lot
you
of them
stop
do
it.
think that they are the
Because
most
if it's a
correct or have
man,
it the most right.
it'll stop. If it's a
However,
dog, you better quit
I
fighting against
don't
God.
trust non-denominational churches in the same way that I trust denominational ones. Typically in churches that belong to a denomination, in that situation, you know that that pastor reports to a higher authority. If they do something that breaks rules, crosses the line, if they get into trouble, there's disciplinary action that will happen within the denomination. They might lose their credentials to preach. They might have to take time off and get put into counseling. But non-denominational churches, a lot of them don't have that. And so when you're in that situation, people like Greg here, they don't answer to anyone. There's no one there to see it and step in and stop him.
Speaking of which, I'm not going to take my time, and I'm not going to pay this thing a lot of homage, and I'm not going to put a lot of power to it. But I told you Wednesday that I was going to at least let you know. I don't even know how much I'm going to let you know. I don't really care at this point. Stupid. So the church and its pastor, because according to this, I'm the leader of the church. Jesus is the leader of the church. You ought to sue him. But this a 40-page lawsuit.
How long does Pastor Greg whine about this lawsuit? A. 5 minutes. B. 2 minutes. C. 15 minutes. D. 1 minute.
Well, he said that he wasn't going to spend a lot of time on it, so I'm going to say A. 5 minutes.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, final answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's not correct. The answer was C, 15 minutes.
From our neighbor over there. In case they can't get their damages out of the church.
What is
and
this
they get it out
supposed
of
to
me.
accomplish?
That's like getting blood out
Are
of
you
a turnip,
trying to get
praise
your
God.
congregation all fired up against the neighbor?
But it's
Is
interesting,
this
all
even
the
a legitimate
nonsense.
lawsuit? Maybe there's
we
more
basically, in
information
order-
available
our
about
lawyers
this
like
by
this
the
is
time that you're
stupid.
watching, but I can't
really is.
find
That's not even the word you use,
anything about
I'm
this
on the platform
at
of
all.
church.
So I'm a little
So basically, just to be honest, I'm
suspicious.
an open book.
I'm a
but
little
we basically
doubtful.
had to set
This is their
aside
little break in
$10,000
worship where
to hire a
he's
lawyer
supposed to do a little
to
bit of
fight for us in
announcements
court for this.
and then they're taking up an offering. So what is his goal sharing about this lawsuit? Is he trying to manipulate the people there to give extra to help pay for it?
Nonsense. This biblical stupidity. That's BS. Biblical stupidity, that's what that stands for.
That was a joke. Oh, it's so
And the
funny
whole thing,
because
I've got
because
this highlighted and all this
BS
kind of- it's 40
usually
pages
stands
long.
for
me tell
bullshit.
you where this all
but
started.
those are naughty words. Biblical
Because of an open book,
stupidity.
I have anything to hide, so
BS.
I don't really care what you
Bullshit.
think at this point. I don't care
What
people
a
online- I don't
funny
care what the neighbors
joke,
think.
Greg.
This ain't about the
So
neighbor.
funny.
This ain't about the neighbor. They have in here in the lawsuit every public time I ever said something about him on his rock beater,
What's a rock beater?
and it has things in there like they're mad because I said in quotation he needs salvation. So let me just get to the goods. I'm not going to pay this thing a lot of homage. There's no need for it. And I'm going to read you something. And then we're going to get on with the service. But because I told you I was going to at least let you know where we're at. I mean, when you're in a lawsuit, that's kind of a big deal for a church, right? So,
Why is it any of their business? Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, if you know more about the legal system than I do. But when you're in a lawsuit, it's typically legally advised to not share information with a bunch of random people. I think any competent lawyer would advise their client not to publicly discuss it. So why does he feel like it's okay to just spill this info not just to everyone in this tent meeting, but to put it out online where literally anyone can see? I'm kind of suspecting that he's just making this up. I doubt that he actually has a legal document up there. Maybe it's filled with notes of what he plans to say, or maybe he's just making up all the shit as he goes. But I highly doubt that this is actual information from a legal document that he's reading out loud.
You think a guy worth millions of dollars could hire somebody that, could at least try to do something. And so he got this popsicle lawyer somehow to write this stuff up. And here's the stuff in the lawsuit. 2016, Greg Locke and GV went viral on social media for openly criticizing Target, the nationwide retailer, for its gender-neutral bathroom policy. I'm like, is there a problem with that? Locke further gained social media attention when he openly criticized churches for closing during the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's his favorite thing to bring up is that they didn't close and they kept meeting in person without wearing masks during COVID.
And by the way, you do realize that they gave us that building that was down there when we originally got here 10 or 11, 12, however long it was years ago, right?
Who's they? Was it the neighbor? So if I've got this right, the neighbor gave them a building? So this neighbor is probably a Christian, and they were being nice and helping out and giving them a building?
But on Easter of COVID, this is where this whole thing started. He came across the street shook my hand and said, because you didn't co-zone COVID, we'll be mortal enemies, and I'll never have anything to do with you again. And I shut down. So this is about COVID, all right?
Sure, that happened, because that's how people talk.
I can promise you one thing, he for dang sure ain't gonna shut this one down right here.
I regularly go up to people and say hi and shake their hand. We're now mortal enemies. Because that's how you communicate with people. That's how an average Tennessee farmer communicates with the local pastor. Sure. Sure, Greg. I believe you. This definitely happened.
Stinking leftless. You Democrats ain't gonna shut this church down. I don't care who you are, all right? Praise God. I'm glad I'm not preaching on politics today. I'd rip his pulpit in half right now. Greg Locke and Global Vision also participate in frequent burning events at Global Vision property, where they burn items that Greg Locke declares satanic witchcraft connected to the Freemasons. By the way, this whole lawsuit is about because I ticked the Freemasons off.
So the longer this goes on, the more I feel like Greg was brainstorming on how he can list off all of the stupid things that he's done that he's really proud of, and he was trying to think what's a good organic way to list all of my favorite things that I've ever done. Oh, yeah, that's right. I can make up a bogus lawsuit and pretend to read it out to everyone. Alleged. These are just my thoughts. But this does not read like a legal document. This does not seem... These things that he's bringing up don't seem valid or related to the thing that he said was the reason for the lawsuit, which is the tent.
So Larry and all his Freemason buddies can take a hike as far as I'm concerned. I ain't scared of a one of them. I don't care how much stinking money they got. They ain't gonna bury this church, they ain't gonna stop this church, and they ain't gonna shut me up.
So their neighbor, Larry, is a Freemason. And so now I'm just imagining Greg comes into town, this nice, sweet farmer who also happens to be a Freemason, gifts Greg a building to use for his church. And they're probably buddies. And they're getting along. And then Greg finds out that Larry is a Freemason. And then I bet Greg went to Larry and was like, "Hi, Larry," shook his hand and said, "Now that I know you're a Freemason, we are now mortal enemies."
Every Freemason in this town can bust hell wide open if they don't repent and believe the gospel. I ain't playing your pedophile patty cake nonsense.
Oh my gosh. Greg, you can't just accuse everyone you don't like of being a pedophile.
Ritual abusers. I ain't messing with none of it. It's all about the Freemasons.
Wow, this worship band is really well trained. Okay, so usually you see this technique at the end of a service. The worship team comes up, starts playing. Now, music is wonderful. It can make you feel a lot of things. And so what he's doing by having his band be like this, he is emotionally manipulating his audience. So he's getting built up and fired up about something. And so he has the band building up in the background so that even if you aren't already feeling fired up with him, that music kind of hits your subconscious and makes you start to feel fired up too. And so it tricks you into empathizing with what he's saying and being on his side. So gross, so manipulative.
I'm sick of playing patty cake with demons. I'm gonna get a shirt that says, "I don't patty cake demons." You hear me? I don't patty cake demons.
Greg, that's stupid. Your merch is gonna suck.
I don't patty cake witches either, and there's two of them in the room right now.
What? Greg, there's more witches? There are more witches in your church? Still? You still haven't hunted down all the witches? There are 2?
Harry Potter.
Will you name them? Will you tell us who they are?
Events at GVB on a regular basis, which he calls deliverance conferences. All these events attract thousands of individuals that attend the property and take part in what can only be described as a series of exorcism. That's exactly what it is. Greg Locke preaches for extended periods of time, frequently well into the night, and purports to even heal people. During these events, he will make statements that children who have medical conditions are demonized and attacked under the guise of being diagnosed with autism. See where they're going with all this? He will further purport to heal all manner of afflictions under the claim authority of the gospel. Yep, because there's power in the name of Jesus. They shall lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. In the spring of 2020, GV began operating out of a tent in the parking lot property located at blah, 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 blah. It's now approximately 3,000 person capacity tent, and services are held on Sundays, Wednesdays, some Saturdays, and on holidays. And for the past 3 years, it has operated in the tent aforementioned without any type of authorization from Wilson County, Tennessee.
Okay, so that could be something. However, the neighbor couldn't sue for that. The county could sue for that.
Other than the fact that they, in the zoning appeal meeting, gave us a variance to meet and said we can't stop a church revival.
Who would take this case? If this is the situation, who would take this case? I'm having a really hard time believing that this is real, Greg.
There's been 5 stop work orders on the property for the tent, for the buildings, for the portable bathrooms. By the
Well, now it just sounds like he is breaking city or county ordinances. If there's been stop work orders.
way, we every single time have been in full 1,000% compliance. But they continue to operate on a continued basis. Services are broadcast over loudspeakers and often occur well into the night. On several occasions, plaintiffs have been unable to sleep due to the noise. I don't know what time you go to sleep, but we're normally out of here by like 8 o'clock. Which continues through 11 o'clock at night frequently, one time during a deliverance conference. The plaintiffs has video showing all of these events, the dates, the timestamps. Guess what? We do too. It goes on and on and on. Therefore, there are frequently thousands of individuals at the GV services, and the infrastructure is not present to support this amount of people.
Now I really think that he's getting sued by his county or something, or he's in trouble with his city or with the county. Because this actually seems like it could be true. Operating illegally in some capacity and not having proper infrastructure and safety. This seems to have a ring of truth to it, maybe.
Guess what? You ever been to Providence? There's no infrastructure to support the growth of Mount Juliet, Tennessee. That's why it's a crap fest trying to get to Wendy's.
So you're comparing yourself to a city?
Because there's not enough road infrastructure.
Greg,
Okay,
your
there's
little
not enough road
circus tent
infrastructure
operation
to facilitate
is
revival.
not a city. That's not comparable
You
in
can't
any way,
revival.
shape, or
If you
form.
can, it's not revival. It's preordained man-made manipulation, right? Plaintiffs are increasingly concerned over the safety of the property because at one point there were 2 or 3 vans of people residing on the property. Yeah, like the go, go, go guy's gonna kill somebody.
Who?
Like Patrick's gonna strangle somebody.
Who's Patrick?
This is Patrick.
Golly. No wonder he just graduated from law school last week. He's probably gonna lose his license over being so stupid to even write up something like this. Now get
Which
this,
I
additionally,
think
there
that
are
Greg
often
wrote this.
security
I
members at
don't think
services.
this is an actual legal document, so he just insulted himself, I
Well, yeah,
think.
because when you preach the gospel, stupid people show up. That's why we got a lawsuit. Oh, and then I love this one. Which have at different times included members of a concerning organization such as the Proud Boys, who the Southern Poverty Law Center cites as being white nationalist, neo-Nazi, male-only group. In a lawsuit. You see, this is all politically driven. If we closed our church like all the other ones did and never supported conservatism, they'd leave us alone. If we played the little mamby-pamby, little limp-wristed games like all the other cute little churches in town, nobody would be saying a word.
Yeah, Greg, if you had taken good safety precautions during COVID, and if you hadn't been an outspoken QAnon conspiracy nut, yeah, you'd get less shit. You maybe would have not gone viral. And less people would know who you are, so less people would give you crap. Yes, Greg, if you were less of a shit human being, more people would leave you alone. Great observation.
The Wilson County Sheriff's Department frequently gets upward of 20 to 30 noise complaints on any given night when Global Vision is in operation. Well, first of all, we have a sheriff's patrol that stays here all the time, so number one, that's a lie. Number two, 5 sheriff patrols showed up when we did our burning, so they were on our side to protect us, not everybody else. And then thirdly, let me say this. Even the news media says they got 22 calls in a month, not 22 calls in a night, so that's a lie.
You mean the lamestream media said that? The fake news media? Why would you even trust what they say as fact in this situation?
This is an unnecessary number of people attending services in a residential area. So that's on y'all, not me.
That's on y'all, so you better give a big enough offering to pay for the legal counsel we had to get for this.
LODSOVEMONE. What's they spell? Loads of money, probably.
I didn't twist your arm to get here. So here's what I wanted to get to, and I want to be done. I just want to read it to you, right? I just want to show you what you have to face when you stand up. Like, there's no such thing as Christian persecution. Pay attention.
Oh, I'm so persecuted.
They'd have cut my head off and shut this church down months and years ago if they could have done it. But we're 10 foot tall and bulletproof till God says otherwise. Therefore, the plaintiffs request an immediate injunction from this honorable court restraining Global Vision Bible Church and Greg Locke from operating on the property. You do realize what that means, right? Until they adhere to all the requirements placed upon them to operate such a church facility in Wilson County. We're not a facility. The plaintiffs hereby request a temporary injunction and restraining order to be issued from the court so that GV can no longer operate any services upon its property.
So, even if this is true, they're not trying to shut them down. It's a temporary injunction, which would imply they need to be shut down until they fix whatever ordinances they're breaking.
I don't care if you like my support of whatever president. It doesn't matter if you like the fact that I told people if you wear a mask other than the fact that you're sick or have cancer. That has nothing to do with any of this. This is the most non-American lawsuit that's probably been filed against the church.
Okay.
This is bogus, utter nonsense. And yet some of you sit there like, well, you know, why'd you waste time during the offering to read that?
Yeah. Why did you waste time?
Because your attitude. Because you think
this is your fault. You brought this on yourself. You don't like when I do these things, so that's why I do these things, because you've got a bad attitude. It's so abusive.
Because they don't like the fact that we kept it open during a
Wow,
pandemic.
conspiracy nonsense.
Oh, well, you know, no, oh, well, you know nothing. They're trying to shut our church down.
No, that's not shutting you down. That would be a temporary injunction. You would temporarily close to fix your issues, and then you would be allowed to reopen. They're not trying to shut you down.
So I'm just going to go ahead and let you know, it's not going to happen. The lawsuit has no teeth in it whatsoever. I'm not backing down. And don't come at me with all this. Well, you know, we ought to just all go surround his property and pray. He don't want that. Stop going over to his house trying to smoke a cigar
Stop
with him
being
like some of y'all
friends
been
with the
doing.
neighbor. Shut him out
We've
of your
tried
life.
that.
He's persona
We
non
tried it.
grata.
Stop. Let God take care of it. Let God fight the battle for us. So, I'll be contained. We'll meet with our lawyer tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, we meet with him tomorrow. They've even got this whole Facebook post in here about the burning. And all of it says right here, filed in court. Tells us when it's filed in court. 40 pages of this nonsense. And that's what it is.
Yeah,
It's
what
utter
BS,
nonsense.
what biblical
So-
stupidity.
It is what it is. So that's where we are, okay? We get canned on YouTube. We get canceled on social media.
You're not canceled, Greg. You got taken off YouTube because you repeatedly violated their terms and conditions. If you still have thousands of people coming to hear you speak, you are not canceled. There are people who don't like you, but that doesn't mean you're canceled.
We get a lawsuit. It's just par for the course. Like, well, you know, I just don't know, preacher. I just, you know, that kind of stuff just makes me nervous. What kind of church am I going to? Not the one you grew up in, I can guarantee you that. So I just want to love you enough in-house and online, and we still got a lot of people at the conference, but I just want to love you enough as your friend, as your shepherd, to say, if this kind of stuff makes you nervous, please go ahead and bow out now.
If you feel nervous when I read out full sections of an alleged lawsuit, if that makes you nervous, get out of my church! Get out! If you don't like that I'm crazy, get out! Get out! If you don't like following an extremist, get out!
Because we ain't even got started yet.
Oh, great. He's promising that he's going to be more and more unhinged over time. Cool.
The hell we gonna have to fight by the acre? You kidding me? It's not gonna get any better. It's gonna get progressively, increasingly worse. And it won't be because of my demonstrative personality. It's because we got a buck-wild, demon-possessed government and a buck-wild, demon-possessed culture and a bunch of buck-wild, demon-possessed pastors.
Oh my gosh. How many demons do you think there are, Greg?
So, everybody all right?
There's so many. At this point, who isn't demon-possessed by your standards?
I could care less about it. I ain't gonna lose an ounce of sleep over that. They ain't gonna get a dime out of this church. And they sure ain't gonna get a dime out of me, praise God. Now, let me read you something I got here on my phone. We're gonna get to the offering. I'm trying to get all this stuff out of the way so I can preach the Bible and not have to get tore up.
Are we gonna get to the offering? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. It really means a lot and I appreciate it.